Okay, so welcome to 4Pi Academy, and this is our lecture number 11 of solid state physics. Okay, so guys, so these are the topics we are going to cover today. We will discuss little bit about the thermal conductivity and energy gap in superconductors, and about the AC and DC Josephson effects. Okay, and then we will discuss related previous year's problems. Okay, so superconductivity. After superconductivity, we will discuss about magnetism in solids. Okay, so this topic, magnetism in solids, is basically for gate examination only, because in CSIR net examination, so this is not included. So this is for gate. Okay, so if you are preparing for net, so you can skip at that time, and for gate you need to prepare this topic because it's important. So little bit which we didn't cover about specific heat in our last lecture. So I tried to okay, so you all know, for a normal metal, for a normal solid, this is the formula of your specific heat. Okay, total specific heat, and you all know that the first term is due to the electronic contribution, and the second term is basically your lattice specific heat contribution. Okay, and we have already discussed about this graph, okay, in last video. So I just want to discuss here that this contribution, electronic specific heat contribution inside the superconductor, is not same as it was in the normal solids. Okay, what was the formula for electronic specific heat for a normal metal? If you remember, the formula was Ce equals to, what was the formula in normal case? 3 by 2 N K, something like that. Yeah, so this was the specific heat for normal cases, but once your material is now superconductor, so the behavior of this electronic specific heat in case of superconducting material proportional to e to the power minus delta over kt. Okay, so this is the exponential behavior of your electronic specific heat in case of superconductors. Okay, and this term, this delta, is basically 1.4 kbtc. So this delta is related to energy band gap in superconductors. We will discuss about it later, but this term, this delta term, is different for different material. Okay, so this 1.4 kbtc terms is basically for gallium. Okay, for gallium this delta is 1.4 kbtc, but for other superconducting material this will be little bit different. Okay, so, and this term delta is known as energy gap parameter. Okay, so now we will see one more thing, because the graphs are important. These graphs now, these are very very important. Okay, so okay, let me. Okay, so you all know about the thermal conductivity. What is the thermal conductivity? K, it's thermal conductivity. So in case of superconductor, if we are transforming your normal conductor, normal metal or material into superconducting state, so you can see here, this is the graph between thermal conductivity versus temperature, and this is your Tc. So you can see the pattern of the behavior of these graphs are some kind similar, we can say. Okay, the lines are not straight, I drawn. So the behavior is quite same, but in case of superconducting material, the thermal conductivity drops, means thermal conductivity is lower if your metal or material is transforming from normal to superconducting state, because this lower one graph is for your superconducting material. Okay, so, and this behavior will start below Tc, because above Tc the two graphs will coincide, because above Tc your material is normal material. Okay, so this is the graph which is showing the relation between thermal conductivity of normal material and superconducting material. Okay, so
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes, please.
Ma'am, in the last slide, what does it mean that electronic contribution drops? कौन सा उनका कंट्रीब्यूशन ड्रॉप हो जाता है इसमें?
Electronic contribution drops. You are talking about this graph kya?
नो मैम, इन नेक्स्ट स्लाइड.
Here na?
यस मैम,
Yeah,
थर्ड
okay.
लाइन
You were
ना,
asking
बाय विच वी
about.
कैन अज्यूम.
Yeah, 1 second. Okay, so you are asking about by which we can, okay, so you know the relationship between the we can say specific heat and thermal conductivity.
मैम याद नहीं है अभी.
Okay, so this there is a formula which include the diffusivity also. So this K and this your specific heat, okay, these are inversely proportional. Okay, these are inversely proportional. So if we are saying that this CES is increasing in superconducting state, if this term is increasing, so this term thermal conductivity will decrease. So this is a relation. Okay, and here if you are concerned about this, the thermal conductivity of superconductors undergoes a continuous change between the two phases. Phases means two phases, normal versus superconducting. And it's usually lower in superconducting phase, by which we can assume that the electronic contribution drop. Therefore, the superconducting electrons possibly playing no part in heat transfer. They are saying that in superconducting state, we are saying that these electrons, okay, the electrons which we like, we can say this is a band diagram if we are saying, and this is suppose your let us say your band gap. We will also discuss about this in superconductor. So the above portion, in our portion there will be electrons, okay, and these electrons will be normal electrons. But if your material is we can say superconducting material, so mostly we will have electrons in the lower state. Okay, and these electrons, these superconducting electrons will not contribute in the we can say conduction. Okay, so their contribution is nothing, so they are not contributing in heat transfer. So in this way we are saying, as they are not contributing in heat transfer, and this term thermal conductivity comes due to the transfer of heat from one end to another. And you know this relation na? In your school or in I think in BSc, you know the formula of K equals to something like that, sigma A T1 minus T2 upon something. Okay, so thermal conductivity comes due to the transfer of heat, transfer of energy due to the electrons. So the contribution is nothing, so or less. So we can say this term is thermal conductivity is decreasing here. Okay.
ओके ओके मैम.
Okay. So let us see one more important parameter of your superconductors. So this is energy gap in superconductors. So you all know about the energy gaps in semiconductors, metals, and insulator. So yeah, in superconductors also we have the energy gap. Okay, we have the energy gap, and this energy gap is related to this term delta we just discussed in last slide. Okay, so the band gap in superconductor is twice of this energy band gap parameter delta. So it's basically different. This energy gap we are talking about in superconductors is totally different to the energy gap as you have heard in the cases of all the other material, insulators, semiconductors, etc. And the thing is same, that it separates the lower excited states to ground state. Okay, and we will see in next slide the graph also. So as you know, if you are talking about the gallium, okay, so for gallium you know that your delta, what was the delta? 1.4 kbtc. Yeah, so eg will be twice of this term, and it will be 2.8 kbtc. And once you will put the value of your kb, okay, and tc, because for gallium we know what is the critical temperature, so we will find that the value of energy band gap is nearly 10 to the power minus 4 electron volt. So just remember this term, okay, because in questions you have some options will be there, and you have to choose that the range of and what is the nearest value of the energy band gap in superconductor. So it's nearly 10 to the power minus 4 electron volt, because kb will be same in all the for all the material, and it's all about tc. Okay, so tc will be like almost near for all the material. It's not drastic, there will not be drastic difference in tc. So this is the range, and we can say this is the order of band gap in your superconductors. And this energy band gap also varies with temperature T, and the formula of variation of this Eg is 1.74 Eg0 1 minus T upon Tc to the power 1 by 2. So this T is the temperature at which we are talking about this band gap, and this Eg0 is a band gap when your temperature is 0, and when your T equals to Tc, this term will be 0. Okay, so you can see here, you can see this graph. Okay, so this is basically the graph between delta and temperature, and you can also suppose, because eg is directly proportional to delta, so this graph will be same for band gap. If we write here eg, so the graph behavior of graph will be same. So this is a variation of your band gap with temperature. So you can see here at when your T upon Tc equals to 1, means here we are talking about T equals to Tc. Okay, so the value of band gap is 0, means the two levels below ground state levels and the top levels will there will not be any gap, means your material is now normal material. That's why we are not talking about the band gap. So it exists, this band gap exists just above the Tc. Okay, so the electron present in the excited state behave as normal electrons. Okay, so you can see this graph. Okay, so this is the band energy band diagram. So this is for normal metal. Okay, so you can see here, suppose this below 1 is your we can say this is your electrons, and all the states are filled by electrons, and here this will be your ef. Okay, means Fermi energy level, and this is your superconductors. So you can see here, this is in superconductor we have a band gap. Okay, and it's 2 delta, and this one is your ef. So you can see that below and above this Fermi level we have electrons, right? We have some electrons. Okay, so the electrons here are uh, known as super electrons. These electrons which are responsible for superconducting state are known as super electrons, and there are some electrons above the Fermi level, and these electrons are known as normal electrons. Okay, so uh, yeah, so as we just written here, the energy gap varies with temperature and its maximum at 0 Kelvin. Okay, so these graphs are important, and this formula is also important. So the energy gap is the characteristic feature of all the superconductors, because we just talked about this delta is related to material. So when this delta is a characteristic property of your material, so that means eg will also be okay. So which determines the thermal properties of material. Okay, and this characteristics define the thermal properties of your material, and also the behavior of your material in the presence of electromagnetic field. That is the Josephson effect they are talking about. So we will now discuss about this interesting and very important topic, Josephson junction. Okay, every time its pen is going, I have to choose again and again. So this is quite important. Okay, so what is this Josephson junction? Basically, if you choose superconductors, two or more superconductors. Okay, so this is one, this is two. These two superconducting layers will be same. Okay, and if you sandwich means the layer, this layer is a insulating layer. Okay, so if we are taking two superconducting materials and we are separated these materials by a very thin layer of some insulating materials, this is insulating material. So this junction is behaving as a junction which is responsible to conduct we can say current through this junction. So this junction is known as Josephson junction, and the thickness of this junction is we can say is 1 to 5 nanometer. Okay, okay, so this is very very, you can see it's in nanometer, right? So it's very 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 small. So this is seen by Josephson, and the effect is known as Josephson effect. So what he's seen that two cases he observed. Once first is known as DC Josephson effect. So if we are not using any external voltage, means we are not applying any voltage here. Okay, so in that case also he observed that due to the tunneling effect, you can see here, because these materials are superconductors. So what is the reason behind superconductors? You all know by BCS theory, your Cooper pairs means there will be electrons, okay, in pair. So these electrons will try, in quantum mechanics you know that there is always a probability of transmission. So these electrons will try to transmit through this thin layer. Okay, so they will uh, tunnel through this junction like this, and intensity is decreasing because they are passing through a barrier. So some electrons will pass through the junction, and in PN junction diode you also know that if this kind of behavior will be there, so there will be some current. So due to this behavior, due to the tunneling of these electrons, there will be a current which will flow through this junction, through this insulating layer. So this current which is flowing inside your this device is DC Josephson current, because we are not applying any external voltage, yet we are getting a small DC current. So this is known as DC Josephson effect. Okay, and what is the formula of current we are getting? I equals to I naught sine phi of 0. So this I naught is, it is a maximum current, it will be the maximum current, and this phi naught will be the phase difference, because you know the equations of how we write the equations of voltage and current in this way only. So this phi naught is the phase difference. Okay, so remember these equations because these are important. Okay, so any confusion here?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Yeah. So in same way, in same way, he also observed AC current also. AC current in what condition? If we are applying a DC voltage V on our device. So in that case, we will get a AC current, and this current will flow through the junction. And he observed that the behavior of this current, AC current is this: I equals to I naught sine phi plus 2e upon h cut t. Because why we are writing this? This will be, you know the formula, na? You know how we write the equations. I equals to I naught sine omega t plus phi, right? We are we always write equation in this way. So this phi is a one second, guys. Sorry. So this phi is the phase difference, and this omega is the frequency of your AC. Okay, so omega is here 2e over h cut. That is the frequency of oscillations of your AC current. Okay, so this formula is quite important. This is also very very important. See guys, in this Josephson effect now, there is also a theory, but it's not that much important, because these equations are only important. Okay, and the we can say that what is the these Josephson effect. Okay, so only the these few things are important, and that's why we are only including these terms. Okay, So flux quantization is also a very very important phenomena in case of superconducting material. So in flux quantization, what is this term flux quantization? Actually, if you take a ring of superconducting material, here you see this figure, this is some ring, and this ring is made up of some superconducting material. And also if you take some let us say some cylindrical shape uh, okay, of your superconducting material, and if you placed this cylinder or this superconducting ring in the presence of some magnetic field, okay, so we see that some flux will pass through the device, pass through the ring, okay, but in this way, okay. So the flux is quantized, means the flux is quantized, and we get some quantized value of flux. So the form quantized value means was what, the value of flux, the value of your flux will be integral multiple of this term h upon 2e. We see that only this kind of value of flux we are getting if we are taking different kinds of rings made up of different superconducting material. So always we are getting, sometimes we are getting h upon 2e, sometimes 2h upon 2e, 4h upon 2e, 3h upon 2e, something like that. So only integral multiple of this h upon 2e. So in that way this term nh over 2e is called flux quantization, because in that form uh, always we are getting flux passing through the rings or cylinders. So that's why this term is very very important. So this is known as flux quantization and also fluxoid, okay. And this term is in mks unit, okay, and if you will convert this is in cgs unit, so it will be nhc upon 2e, because in magnetic fields, magnetostatics, we will convert like this, okay. So this is very very important, flux quantization. So just highlight this. So let us see some of the problems from net and gate examination. So a DC voltage V is applied across a Josephson junction between two superconductors with a phase difference of I naught. If I naught and K are the constant that depend on properties of the junction, the current flowing through it has a form. Can you tell me the answer? Because it
Ma'am,
just
C,
hmm?
C,
Just
third
read
one.
the question once again.
Okay.
Option A.
Yeah, because
Option A, ma'am.
yeah, right. Because they are applying Hasmukh, you were saying C. So they are applying DC voltage, na? So just DC voltage, that means they are talking about the AC Josephson effect. And in AC, what was the formula? Just this formula. So this is so simple. And you, I think, because it's solid state physics. So, okay, so it was 5 mark question. So can you see sometimes the problems are so simple. Okay. So it's very simple. Just remember the formula and just stick here. So you can get 5 mark. So it's very simple.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am,
Hmm. Yeah.
ma'am, why not it's B?
Because this term it's given here because yeah, k is constant and v is also constant. It's right. Okay. But the formula is I naught, and we can calculate in the other method what is the value of I naught, but not kv. Kv is not the value of I naught, you know na. So sometimes what happens, like I was checking your last yesterday lecture of mathematical physics, okay, and you were confused about some question that you were thinking like that all the options are correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So sometimes what happens, I'm not sure about that questions because I didn't check in detail that time. But sometimes what happens, like your answer containing three important things, okay, But in all options, in some options there will be all the three things, in some option there will be one thing, things. So you have to choose sometimes the most appropriate answer, because here you can see the form of the two options A and B are same. So you are asking that why this is not the correct option, but you know that the exact form, this is the exact form. We are not concerned about the value of I naught here, because uh, the correct one option is here. So if this is, you can say that this is looking like that, this is also a correct one. So once you have the most correct options available, so you will not look on the other options. Okay. So the option which will give you the most important and almost all the informations about the question, that will be your correct one. Okay, so this is your correct answer. Your next problem is from gate net. A superconducting ring carries a steady current in the presence of a magnetic field B normal to the plane of the ring. Identify the incorrect statement. The flux, we will check the incorrect statement. So just check one by one. The flux passing through the superconductor is quantized in units of hc upon E. Just tell me, is it right and wrong?
Wrong, ma'am.
Ma'am, wrong.
Wrong.
No, ma'am, HC upon 2E, I think. Okay, wrong.
It's wrong, na? Because we should have nh upon 2e. So it should be either
Yes.
h upon 2e. So it's incorrect. Okay, so this will be your right option, but okay, we will check the other one. The current and the magnetic field in the superconductors are time independent. You know what is a uh, you know what is the value of current and magnetic field in the superconductors? In the inside your superconductor, your magnetic field is zero. That's why we are talking about
Yes.
Meissner effect.
Meissner effect.
है ना? So this will be uh, no, but this should not be the case. Na? The current and the magnetic field in the are time independent. It may be, but let me check this option. Okay. So third option, the current density J and magnetic field B are related by this equation. So you this is the correct one. This is the correct one. Just you need to check your kettle. Okay. So this is your correct one. And one more important thing is there. If like you, sometimes you were confused about the other options, like you have to find the incorrect one. If you some option is more familiar to you, like this was the familiar option for you, because you clearly know each and everything about the flux quantization. So you know that this is the incorrect one. So just read all the options. Okay. And if you are still confused, so don't go in detail. This will be your correct one. Okay. You can see you can the last one. The superconductors shows an energy gap which is proportional to the transition temperature of the superconductors. So we just wrote the formula of Eg, and Eg depends on the value of T and Tc. So this is also the correct one. So incorrect will be this option A. Yeah. Your next problem is the thermal conductivity of a given material reduces when it undergoes a transition from its normal state to the superconducting state. The reason is they are saying that thermal conductivity decreases when you are going from normal to superconducting state, and they are asking about the reason. So we will check the option. First, the Cooper pairs cannot transfer energy to the lattice. Is it right and wrong? See, guys.
Wrong, ma'am. Wrong.
Yeah, this is wrong. Because the Cooper pairs, why they will not transfer energy to the lattice? They will move, they will form pair, electrons will make pair, and they will move here and there. So once they are moving, they will definitely transfer energy to the lattice. Okay. But this statement is nothing to do with this term. Okay, this term is not responsible for thermal conductivity. It is right, but not for this reason. This is not the reason for reduction in thermal conductivity. Upon the formation of Cooper pairs, the lattice becomes less efficient in heat transfer. This is the same thing. This is also not correct here. Okay. The electron in the normal state lose their ability to transfer heat because of their coupling sorry, coupling to the Cooper
Mm.
pair.
Yes, ma'am. I think it is right. Okay.
No, the meaning of this statement is also same. The electron in the normal state lose their ability to transfer heat because of their coupling to the Cooper pairs. They are talking about uh, no, this is the same thing, no? First and third, the meaning of these terms are same. The Cooper pairs will always transfer energy. So it's nothing to do with this. The heat capacity increases on transition to the superconducting state, leading to a reduction in the thermal conductivity. So this is the right one. Heat capacity increases. Okay, if you are transforming from normal to superconducting state. And I think I mentioned today also that your K, thermal conductivity, is inversely proportional to your specific heat, electronic specific heat. So if this is increasing, this will decrease, right? If this is increasing, this will decrease. So
Yes, ma'am.
this will be the reason of your. Okay, so this option is the correct one. So yeah, the order of magnitude of the energy gap of a typical superconductor is, we figured out for gallium that the value of energy band gap was, what was the value, remember?
1.4.
1 point. 10
10
power
s to
minus 4.
minus 4.
अरे that was formula.
Yes.
1.4 वैल्यू थोड़ा ना थी वो तो, that was formula. Eg will be 1.4
Into cavity. Yes,
हाँ
yes.
वो पूरा फॉर्मूला था. I need not to, but we get this value 10 to the power minus 4 electron volt, and this is
Yes, ma'am.
1 million, one this is MeV. This M is milli. So this will be your correct. Considering the VCS theory of superconductors, which one of the following statement is not correct? H is your Planck constant and E is the electronic charge. So, okay. They are asking about BCS theory, and we have to figure out the incorrect statement. Presence of energy gap at temperature below the critical temperature. It is right and wrong.
Right, ma'am.
Okay. Different critical temperature for isotopes. I
It
think
is
I
also right.
I think I but oh, I missed something here, and that was the correct one. Just I think it's also same kind of problem. H upon E was there. Okay. So this was the correct one because you know the isotopic effect, and that effect Tc depend on M. So there will be different critical temperature for different isotopes. So that is, these two statements will be correct. Okay. And quantization, you all know that it should be H upon 2E. Okay. So it will be your incorrect. And presence of Meissner effect, this is correct in superconductor and according to BCS theory. Okay. So this will be incorrect. So check this and you have to answer. this question. The plot of specific heat versus temperature across the superconducting transition temperature Tc is most appropriately represented by. Just tell me. We discussed.
Option A.
Okay. Aarti.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Rest, guys.
Ma'am, option A.
Okay.
Option A, ma'am.
Okay. So, okay. Arya, Shravya.
Ma'am, I
Ma'am,
said
no idea.
Ma'am, option A.
Okay. Harun, you there? I think Harun is there. Okay, so yeah, this is your correct one, because yeah. So see this graph. Okay, this is in your specific heat. So specific heat in superconducting state is higher. Okay, so the linear behavior in case of your normal, so you can see here this is some kind of linear behavior. So some small changes you can find in the graphs, but you can see that at Tc there is a sharp increase. Okay, so this is your behavior of specific heat versus temperature. So this is your correct graph. And this is also a graphical problem from gate examination. Which one of the following represent the electron occupancy for a superconductor in its normal and superconducting state? So we discussed little bit about the energy gap, okay, and about the electrons in the ground and excited state. So can you suggest me, can you figure out what would be the correct option?
ma'am, option C.
Okay. Hmm. Anyone else want to answer?
Option C, ma'am.
According to
Ma'am, I
Aarti, it's
think
option
option B.
B. Hasmukh is saying option B. Okay,
Not B. Ma'am, D, fourth. Fourth.
okay. So you are saying, Hasmukh is saying D option. Okay, Shravya?
It's B, ma'am, I think. B.
Okay, Arya?
Option A, ma'am.
Okay. Uh, Justin?
Ma'am, option D.
Option D. And Harun? Harun is there?
Yes, ma'am. Option D, I think.
Option D. So yes, option D is correct. Okay, because majority are saying this option. Okay, so this is correct. So let us see why this is correct. So first check all the options. What was the question? Which one of the following represent electron occupancy for both superconductor in its normal and superconducting state? So in normal state, see this graph. They didn't mention that they are talking about at T equals to 0 Kelvin. They didn't mention first thing. So this graph is for normal state. This is the graph when your temperature is 0. Okay. So first thing, this question, this is not correct. So okay, and this one also, because I think, oh, I didn't mention, but okay. So you all know that if we are talking about the Fermi-Dirac statistic curve, so what was the behavior of curve? If we are talking about at temperature greater than uh, 0 Kelvin, so something, this kind of behavior we are getting. And what was this? This is EF. So that means we will have a number of electrons just above this level and just below. This is the below. Okay, and we will also have electrons just above the Fermi level. So the behavior should be similar to this kind, either should be this or like this. But see this behavior, the term is showing that here it should be like infinite. Okay, so this is not making any sense, so this is wrong. And here also this kind of behavior, so this is also wrong. And see this, see the C, this you can see here, this is wrong now. First one was wrong, I told you, so we left this. So in this you can see this is showing that there will be number of electrons below and above the Fermi level. Okay, and this condition for superconducting state, you all know that we know that the all the levels, all the states below the Fermi levels will be empty. Okay, because we are talking about the superconducting state. Okay, so if we are converting our material into we can say from normal to superconducting materials, all the electrons, they were above the Fermi level, they will make the Cooper pair, and just they will come in the lower state, they will come here, down here. So this is the case for superconducting material, so this will be the wrong, oh sorry, correct one. Okay guys, any confusion?
मैम एक बार फिर से रिपीट कर दो.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so first thing, keep in mind कि this type of curve is wrong because it is showing some infinite values at this point, at this point. So this is not the case in Fermi-Dirac statistics, because in Fermi-Dirac statistics your Fe is the occupancy na. So these graphs are wrong. So 1, 2, so A and B are wrong. So let us check C. Okay, so in C, the first graph is for normal material. So they didn't mention that they are talking about temperature greater than 0 Kelvin. Okay, or 0 Kelvin. Sorry, they didn't mention that they are talking about T equals to 0 Kelvin. So we can't take this graph because this graph for normal material is only for temperature 0 Kelvin, right? Okay, so let us come to this graph. So at T greater than 0 Kelvin, the behavior of occupancy, the behavior of Fermi-Dirac distribution function is this kind of behavior we also mentioned here. Okay, so you all know about the normal material. So let us discuss about the superconducting state. So guys, in superconducting state, we initially we have electrons above and below the Fermi level when your material was in normal state. But when you are decreasing the temperature below Tc, the electrons which were above the Fermi level, the electrons will make the Cooper pair, and once they make the Cooper pair, their energy, combined energy, will be lower, and they will come to the lower energy state because their energy is reducing. So they will come here in lower energy state. So we can say that there will be no electrons above the Fermi level. So this is the case for your superconducting material, right? Okay, so your option
Okay, ma'am.
D is correct option. Okay, so this problem is this is your homework. You have to do this, and you tomorrow मुझे आंसर आप मैसेज कर देना. ओके, एंड इन केस ऑफ एनी क्वेरी, अगर कुछ डाउट है तो आई विल टेल यू हाउ टू सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम बिकॉज इट्स इजी. ओके, so now we will discuss a little bit about the magnetism in solids. Okay, and this is I highlighted that this is only for GATE syllabus. Okay, so you all are giving GATE examination also. You applied.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let us cover this also. Yeah, so first we are going to discuss about the magnetism in solids. So let us let us see the few important terms in the magnetostatics. Okay, so first important term is magnetization. Okay? Because these are the common terms. Okay, so what is the magnetization? You must I think know about this term, but let us okay, so what is the magnetization? It's basically magnetic moment per unit volume of a solid. Means you are putting your solid material inside the magnetic field. Okay, inside the magnetic field B, or let us say H here. Okay, you are putting your your material in this magnetic field. So there will be the magnetic moment because we will have atoms inside the uh, solid. So due to the due to the atoms present in the material, there will be some kind of magnetic moment. Okay, you all know in your 10th and 12th standard. Okay, so the magnetic moment per unit volume of your solid is known as this term, magnetization, and it is represented by capital M. Okay, so this is magnetization. And next term is magnetic susceptibility. It's a very, very important term. And this magnetic susceptibility is the ratio of magnetization and magnetic field. Means magnetization per unit magnetic field is known as your magnetic susceptibility. Okay. And here H is the strength of magnetic field. Okay. B is not the magnetic field. Here we are talking about that your H is the strength of your magnetic field. Okay. So yeah. And how you can find the value dimension of this chi is a ratio of M and H. Okay, so sometimes what happens, the directions of these magnetization and magnetic field is different. So if the directions of these two quantities are different, so in that case your chi will be a tensor. Okay, and if we are talking about isotropic media, you know what is the isotropic media, guys? In electrodynamics, it's a quite common term. Isotropic media means what? Like vacuum means there is a similar kind of environment everywhere. Means these terms are identical at each point of the medium. So this is known as isotropic media. Generally vacuum is a isotropic media. So in isotropic media their directions will be same. So if the directions will be same, this chi term will be a scalar quantity. Okay, so these are the scalar quantities. Okay, and yeah. So your next term is magnetic induction, means B. So it is also known as magnetic flux density, and it is represented by B. And why we are getting this B? Because this B is basically the magnetic flux produced inside your material when you are placing your material in the presence of some magnetic field H. Okay, and the value of this magnetic induction is due to the applied magnetic field and due to the magnetization produced in the solid due to this H. So the value of B will be mu naught H plus mu naught M. That means mu naught H plus M. And what is this mu naught? This is the permeability of free space. Okay, and the value of this mu naught, you all know, it's 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7 Henry per meter. Okay, and this B, the unit of this B is in Tesla or Weber per meter square. So you can combine this equation 2 and this equation 1. Okay, we can combine this equation and we will get that this B can be represented in terms of chi, and it will be mu naught 1 plus chi H, and this term mu naught 1 plus H is mu. Okay, so this mu will be mu naught 1 plus chi, and this mu is the absolute permeability of medium. Okay, and the dimension of mu is similar to the dimension of this mu naught. Okay, and we can also find the ratio of this mu and mu naught, and the ratio is mu r. Mu r will be mu upon mu naught, or mu will be mu naught mu r. So mu r is relative permeability. Okay, and mu r is nothing, 1 plus chi. So these small relations are important. Okay, so let us discuss about the magnetism. So in solids now we have different kind of magnetism. Okay, so these are the important behavior of solids in the presence of magnetic field. So diamagnetism, paramagnetism, ferromagnetism, antiferromagnetism, and ferrimagnetism. So first thing is diamagnetism. So what is this term diamagnetism? Actually, if we have some solids, and let us say in all solids now, in almost each solid, we get this behavior, diamagnetism. Okay, what is the diamagnetism? If you are placing your material inside the magnetic field, okay, so the magnetic moments present in the material present is in your solids, they all will direct in the direction of your magnetic field. What is the, let us say, let us say that like this, okay, like this, like this. So these are the you know that in your material there will be atoms, okay, and due to the spin of these electrons, there will be the magnetic moment corresponds to your atom. And suppose the direction of these magnetic moments is different for all the atoms, like random motion, you can see. So in the, okay, so once you apply some magnetic field, let us say in this direction we are applying some magnetic field, so this magnetic field will apply some force on all the magnetic moments, so they all will direct uh, opposite direction, they all will directed in the opposite direction of your applied magnetic field due to the force, magnetic force. So this behavior is not known as diamagnetic behavior. So these kinds of material are known as diamagnetism material. And one more important thing is that these kinds of material, they do not have some permanent magnetic moment, okay, means in the absence of this magnetic field, there is no permanent magnetic moment because they all are in the random direction, so overall the magnetic moment is zero, okay. And they all have some very small value of this magnetic susceptibility, and their chi is negative, small and negative value, okay. And they all materials show this diamagnetism behavior, but other behavior like paramagnetic and ferromagnetic is sometimes very stronger than this diamagnetism material. So okay, so to calculate, to find out the value of magnetic susceptibility of your material, of your diamagnetic material, two theories are used, okay. Langevin classical theory and quantum theory also. But using both the theory, we are getting the same result. Means the diamagnetic susceptibility is this, minus n mu naught Ze square upon 6m and r square, average value of r square. So this term r square is the mean square distance of your electron from nucleus. And what is this n? This n is the number density, means number of atoms per unit volume. And this z is the atomic number, or we can say number of electrons. And number of electrons are what? Atomic number, okay. So and m is the mass of your electron. So see this relation, this susceptibility is negative here, and once you can calculate the value of this term, this will be very small. So the diamagnetic susceptibility of your material is negative, is very small, and temperature independent because there is no T. So these three results are quite important, okay. So let us see what is the paramagnetic material. So paramagnetic material is opposite of your diamagnetic materials. Means there will also be individual magnetic moments inside your paramagnetic material, right? But in the presence of external magnetic field, they all oriented in the same direction, okay, in the same direction as your applied magnetic field, okay. One more important thing, we can say, uh, yeah, okay, so their total magnetic movement will be in the same direction as your applied magnetic field direction. So what was the condition, means what is the reason they are behaving like this? So the reason is this: there will be, if we have we can say, let us say, in diamagnetic material, one more important thing is there. uh, in case of material, where there is no odd number of electrons available, okay, so we have diamagnetic behavior. And if we have odd number of electrons available, so there will be paramagnetic behavior. So the spin or intrinsic movement of the electron is responsible for paramagnetic behavior also. Okay, and the orbital motion also contribute to this behavior. Okay, and this term, the spin magnetic moment of the nucleus. So why I'm writing these things here? Because in GATE examination, some 1 mark questions will be there, and these kinds of options will be there. Okay, so you need to understand what is the reason behind the paramagnetism. Okay, and the most important thing is the behavior of chi. So the susceptibility in paramagnetic material is positive, small, and also temperature dependent. Okay, so few metals, okay, and atoms and molecules having odd number of electrons, they show paramagnetism. Okay, so now we will see what is the formula of this magnetic susceptibility for paramagnetic material. This is mu naught, this is a formula. So final we are getting mu naught and mu square upon 3 kt. So this term mu naught and mu square upon 3k is constant. So we can write it will be constant upon t, c over t. So you can see the paramagnetic susceptibility is temperature dependent. It's inversely proportional to temperature. So these formulas are important. Okay, so just remember the behavior of chi, the formula of chi, and the relation of these chi. Okay, so now we will see about the ferromagnetism. Okay, so these are the interesting material. Okay, ferromagnetic material are interesting material because in the absence of magnetic field also there is some magnetization. Means in the absence of your magnetic field, there will be some, we can say like this, the direction of all the we can say individual magnetic moments are not are such that the combined magnetic moment is not zero. The combined magnetic field is not zero. Okay, so there is, we are saying that there is a some permanent magnetic moment, permanent magnetic dipole moment even in the absence of your B, right? So once you will apply the magnetic field, so there will always be magnetic moment. So in the absence of magnetic field, the magnetization is known as spontaneous magnetization. Okay, and this spontaneous magnetization is only present up to a certain temperature T. Okay, and this temperature is known as Curie temperature, because below this Tc, all the movements will be in the same direction, and they will contribute to the spontaneous magnetization. But once your temperature will be greater than Tc, your T will be greater than Tc, they all will be randomly oriented, or in that case your spontaneous magnetization will be zero. Okay, so what is the value of susceptibility for ferromagnetic material? It's large, it's positive. Okay, and what are the metals and what are the materials? Few metals like iron, nickel, cobalt, and some alloys, they also show this ferromagnetic behavior. Okay, so this was the theory, Weis theory, and according to this theory, they considered that the reason is actually the presence of domains. Okay, and these domains are basically spontaneously magnetized. Okay, and you know about the domains, guys?
Yes, ma'am. We
Okay,
know about.
so domains are the small reasons, we can say, in material, where like you can say here, all the adjacent,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, all the adjacent atoms present in these regions are in the same direction. Their magnetic moments are aligned in the same direction. So we just saying that these small regions are having some permanent magnetic moment, but their individual direction will be different. Like you can see the direction of magnetic moment is in this direction. Here the direction is quite different. Here the direction will be different, and we can say here it will be your direction, and here suppose something like this. So these are the domains. So they, according to this theory, they took this assumption. Okay, so these individual regions are basically domains. Okay, and these domains, these individual regions are spontaneously magnetized because they are having some permanent magnetic moment. Okay, and this is the reason is the exchange field between we can say these domains. Okay, because the direction is different, so there will be some kind of exchange of magnetic field. So using these assumptions, they figured out the value of this chi. Okay, and the value of this chi is, what is the value of chi is mu naught m upon b, and the final formula is c upon t minus tc. Okay, what we were saying that only below tc, when your temperature is less than tc, you will have some value of this chi. Okay, once you will reach at critical temperature, this tc, this will be c upon 0, so infinite. Okay, so this is the formula, and this temperature, critical temperature, is basically Curie temperature here. Okay, and the value of this Curie the value of this Curie temperature is this. Okay, so only these formulas chi and c, these are quite important. Okay, and this formula is known as Curie-Weiss law. So all the formulas of chi in the ferromagnetic, paramagnetic, and diamagnetic, they are very, very important. Okay, so let us discuss one more thing, antiferromagnetism. So antiferromagnetism, it's opposite of ferromagnetic material. So here you can see like the adjacent magnetic moments, they are in opposite direction, quite opposite direction. Like this is the reason or some domain having the direction of magnetic moment like this. So it's near its neighboring or adjacent domain will have the magnetic moment in just opposite direction. So the overall magnetic moment will be zero. Okay, so there will be no magnetization. Okay, so manganese oxide is a material. Okay, and this is the common material. Okay, and antiferromagnetism, there will be some other material also, but this is the most common material showing this kind of behavior. And when we will apply some field, external field, we can say some small magnetization present in the direction of field, and it is increased with temperature. Okay, in ferromagnetic material we will getting a very strong magnetization. Okay, but here we are getting very small value of magnetization, and that magnetization will increase with the temperature. So the magnetic susceptibility for these material is this c upon t plus theta. So these are the few constant. This theta is known as Néel temperature also, because it is given by some Néel theory. Okay, and the value of this constant c is this, and the value of this constant theta is this. Okay, so you can see that these just remember these formulas. Okay, just remember these formulas, all these formulas, that your chi is this for ferromagnetic material. Okay, for all the material. Okay, so these are the important formulas like this. This is also temperature dependent. Okay, inversely proportional to temperature. And in case of diamagnetic material, there is no temperature, it's temperature independent. Okay, so these are the important formulas. And let us, okay, so in tomorrow in next lecture we will discuss about few more important thing about the magnetism in solids. Okay, we will see few important graphs. Okay, about the susceptibility in different kind of material. Okay, so we can close this session here. You guys, you want to ask something, any query, so you can ask, please.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No query. Okay, so it's Wednesday. Okay, so I will upload. I think we have uploaded. I think so. We will give you tomorrow morning the link for your mathematical quiz. Okay, so just give the quiz. Okay, and also tomorrow on Thursday you will have your lecture, first lecture of electronics. Okay, by Mr. Sandeep Vadai at 7 p.m. I guess. Okay, so be there, and because it will be your first lecture, very first lecture, and electronics is also very very important paper. Okay, so just attend the first lecture. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. Or and okay, anything you want to ask, guys?
No, ma'am.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so thank